This video reviews a selection of spooky books by the Folio Society, some of which are vintage books and some are still available new. I'd like to start with several collections of ghost stories by M.R. James. The first selection of James's ghost stories was published by the Folio Society in 1973. The 15 stories in this edition are selected and introduced by Nigel Neal. The book features 9 deliciously creepy two-colour lithographs by the English illustrator Charles Keeping. Montague Rhodes James is considered a master of the English ghost story. He was a decorated medievalist scholar, eventually being promoted to provost or head of the King's College, Cambridge in 1905 and Eton College in 1918. Many of James's best-known stories were originally written to be read to students or friends that gathered in his college rooms on Christmas Eve, illuminated only by flickering candlelight. His stories retain the intimate tone of these dramatic live readings, with horror that is conveyed by dry humour and a light touch. The Folio Society released a second M.R. James book of collected ghost stories in 2007, and this omnibus brings together his 4 published collections of ghost stories. The book is introduced by Penelope Fitzgerald, and it contains 13 delightfully haunting colour etchings by Francis Mosley. James himself describes the ideal ghost story as one that includes the slight haze of distance being set in the past, with a nicely managed crescendo and a modicum of blood shed with deliberation and carefully husbanded. Many of his heroes bear a similarity to the author himself: scholarly duns, obsessive bibliophiles, and cautious but curious bachelors. They reside calmly in English villages or ancient towns in France, until suddenly they discover an old book or another antiquarian object, after which their calm environment is disturbed by an ominous or supernatural menace. The current Folio Society edition of Ghost Stories is a selection of 16 tales that includes 5 illustrations by James McBryde. McBryde was a friend of the author and used to attend James's Christmas storytelling evenings. James gave him his first commission to illustrate this collection of Ghost Stories of an Antiquary. Sadly, McBryde died after completing only 4 illustrations and starting a 5th. James was adamant that no one could replace his friend, and he published his book with just these illustrations. Melmoth the Wanderer is an 1820 Gothic romance novel by Irish clergyman Charles Maturin. The story tells the tale of Melmoth, a scholar who sold his soul to the devil in exchange for 150 years of extra life, who then searches the world in order to tempt someone to take over his pact. It takes the form of several tales told within the tale. The paintings and the stunning binding design are by artist Felix Zakar. The Handmaid's Tale is quite well known now following its successful adaptation to a TV series. This is the original novel by Canadian author Margaret Atwood that was originally published in 1985. It explores the idea of subjugated women in a near-future patriarchal society and the various ways in which they attempt to regain their independence. The title is an echo of the connected stories in Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, which are titled The Knight's Tale, The Merchant's Tale, etc. The Folio Society edition is stunningly illustrated by the Balbusso twins, Anna and Elena. Tales of Mystery and Imagination is another very well-known collection of writings by the American author Edgar Allan Poe. The Folio Society edition is based on the 1919 edition, with Harry Clarke's stunning black and white illustrations. Unfortunately, though, they did not choose to reproduce the expanded edition that followed in 1923, as this contains many more black and white illustrations as well as 8 colour plates. However, you can still get a reasonable copy of the expanded edition that was put out by Calla in 2008. This adorable miniature edition of Poe's poem The Raven is part of a series of miniature poems that I previously covered in greater depth, and I'll link that video below if you're interested in more. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with more beautiful books.